I know that you're not here to hear about my technological problems and lack of advances, as well as my aspirations to grow this channel. That's not what you're here for. That comes as we take this journey together. What you are here for is my review of the American Society of Magical Negroes. Yeah, yeah, it's about that time. So by now, you all have kind of picked up on how I do things. I'll give you the review on the front end and on the back end. Pause. We're going to talk about some spoilers, get really in depth on the plot and things like that. So without further ado, the American Society of Magical Negroes somehow exceeds its expectations. And I don't mean that in a positive way. This shit is actually a little bit worse than I expected it to be. Like, I know that the film was about a society of black people making Caucasian people comfortable, but they actually found a way to take it a step further. So, yeah, this film is about black people having white fear. And I'm not going to get into it, like, really break it down right now because, again, this is a spoiler free review. So, like I said, you stick around, you're going to find out exactly what I think about this film. However, I can say comfortably it's not really worth your time. Like, you can find something else to do. I watched this so you wouldn't have to. And with that said, let's go ahead and get to the verdict. The American Society of Magical Negroes somehow is not as bad as the Netflix Good Time reboot or revival, but it's still pretty bad. So it gets a unapologetic bullshit from me. That's 1 out of 5. Don't check this out. Don't waste your time. And please stick around so I can tell you what exactly is wrong with this film. So the bullshit doesn't really start at the beginning. Like, we have Aaron, who is played by Justice Smith, and by the way, Justice Smith, he's actually he's a pretty alright actor. I've seen him in some stuff, but we see him and he's kind of this down on his luck artist who wants to make art out of yarn. I know art is very subjective. I don't get into the weeds as far as judging that. The exhibit, I guess it has some potential, but anyways, I'm moving on. However, people don't really gravitate to what it is he's doing, and he's very timid and shy, especially in the presence of Caucasians. And you see this in the opening scene where he has to sell his art, and he walks up to this Caucasian buyer, and the guy thinks he's quote unquote the help and hands him his trash to throw away. And that sets the stage for Aaron being basically a punk. It's kind of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah. Not Justice Smith, the person. I don't know anything about him, but the character that Justice Smith is playing, he's kind of a bitch, man. So he walks to a nearby ATM. He tries to get some money. He only had $17 to his name. A lot of people probably can relate to that struggle. I know I can, especially when I was in my 20s and that shit wasn't fun. Anyways, this drunk Caucasian lady comes up, hands him her purse, asks him to help her get some money out of the ATM. And he's like, look, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, you're clearly drunk and out of your fucking mind. And I don't know if I can help you in that way. Don't give me your PIN number, Caucasian lady. Please go away. So he's trying to, get her to kind of go about her business. And then she forgets that she handed him her purse, accuses him of stealing. Her boyfriend and his friend are nearby. They're getting ready to come over and kick Aaron's ass. And now enters Roger, played by David Alan Grier. And let's just stop right here. I'm a huge David Alan Grier fan. I throughout his career, he's supplied me with so many laughs and moments from my childhood, namely of which his performance as Reverend Lundy Love on Martin, masterclass comedic performance. Like, I highly recommend anybody go and check it out. But, most of the audience that I know that's interested in this video, we already know what's up, right? Anyways, Roger comes in and he does some some magical Negro gymnastics and makes all of the Caucasians feel comfortable. He does a little bit of shucking and jiving here and there. I'm not even gonna lie. He encourages them to go and try some restaurant out because it reminds him of his mama's good old eating. Whoa, you know how that goes. But as they're, angry and upset and trying to figure out what's going on, he magically makes the purse pop back in the Caucasian lady who's in a panic, pops back in her hand, and all's well that ends well. And that's kind of where the issues began. Like, it was about making the Caucasians comfortable so we can live another day. Now, I understand the political landscape and the social landscape. I understand what it is they're trying to do. Satirically, they're trying to say, look, this is how it looks for us as black people to try and play along and make you all feel comfortable just so we can live to see another day. And it shouldn't be like that. And honestly, it shouldn't. There are situations where people have to play the game just to make it home. I get that. This film grossly overplays that part. And it's a shame that we are getting this product instead of something that really could have been cool. Like, when I first heard the title of this film, I thought it was going to be something like some Black Harry Potter shit. That would have been dope. But we sped right past doing that. And we went with, let's talk about how we have to make Caucasian people comfortable. And that sucks. And I mean, the potential is there. Like, there's a fantastical score that clearly inspired off of the Harry Potter movies that, serves as kind of an undertone in this opening scene. And like, there's just so much potential there, but they waste it and they squander it, and they give us a film that's about, honestly, a collection of black people who live to serve the egos of Caucasian people. And if you think that I'm bullshitting, you're about to hear some shit. Like, I'm not playing. Like, what you're about to hear is an actual running joke and scene in the film. When we're introduced to the American Society of Magical Negroes, there is a scene that's reminiscent of the Green Mile, which everybody knows is, like, in terms of the trope that Spike Lee came up with, the Green Mile is like one of the ultimate magical Negroes, right? So this character that's supposed to be Michael Clark Duncan-esque, he's talking to the Caucasian officer, which is supposed to be Tom Hanks' character from that film. And Tom Hanks is just, well, not Tom Hanks. That character is having some angst about his home life and things of that nature. And the black man encourages him, uplifts his spirit, and it culminates with him reaching down and grabbing the Caucasian man's balls and just holding his nuts in his hand. And I guess imbuing them with magical Negro-ness. And it's appalling, and it only escalates from there. So, understanding his mission, Aaron is assigned a client named Jason. And Jason is this Caucasian man who is stressed out and kind of is underachieved, and he really is mediocre. He's mediocre at best. And I will say this. Jason as a character is horrible. Like, they do a great job making me hate him. I'm going to give them complete and utter credit for that. They absolutely made me despise Jason. He's a bitch too. Yep, that's what he is. He is a bitch too. And his bitch assness just far exceeds a lot of bitch assness that I've seen throughout the years. Anyways, Aaron's assignment is to empower this mediocre Caucasian man and really help out the company that he works for and uplift his spirit. Along the way, before he even gets to Jason, he meets this this delightful young Taiwanese and Irish young lady. This young lady's name is Lizzie, and she's played by Anlee Bogan, Sorry if I mispronounced that. But one thing I noticed is they don't like outwardly say that she's not Caucasian or that she's not mixed race. They don't say that initially, and it's actually a line by Jason that brings this part up. And he says in a way like, man, I didn't even know you weren't white, like one of those type of deals. So I did some research, and yeah, she's of mixed race. But the thing is, like Aaron, from the onset, I'll say this. The chemistry between Aaron and Lizzie is palpable. Like, it's clearly present. And it's enjoyable. To a degree, it is enjoyable seeing them kind of progress and blossom. But then here lies again the issue. There is a moment where they're speaking, and Aaron is just really talking about his existence as a black man in America. And he expresses his stress in terms of being fearful of Caucasian people because he's scared that he's going to get killed. And this fear of them has crippled him his entire life, both creatively and socially. It's just so damaging. And this is where one of my main issues with the film comes in at. I do not like how docile they make the men look. Really, black people as a whole. I just want that to be clear. Everybody in this film is docile until they snap on their Caucasian counterpart and they get kicked out of the Society of Magical Negroes. And that's also the only time the Magical Negroes really show aggression, is when another Magical Negro has disappointed their Caucasian subject. I'm not making this shit up. But yeah, it's just about being docile and being fearful and, oh, I'm so afraid of these Caucasian folk. And look, man, I'm from Mississippi. I know a lot of black people, and I've had to deal with like Caucasian people doing bullshit. And I mean, we just had a situation out there where there were a string of officers who essayed some black men for an extended amount of time, and all of them, have been found guilty and will be convicted and sentenced. But if it wasn't for a long list of circumstances, those men probably would have got away with this shit. But there have been so many crazy things back from where I'm from. I will say this. Nobody that I'm close with, nobody from my generation, the generation right before mine, and the generation after mine, is this afraid of Caucasian people. And it perpetuates that most of us feel like this. And I'm going to tell you, and this just came to me. I asked several times, who is this film made for? And it finally has come to me. It's made for Caucasian people to show their impact on, quote unquote, our black experience, how they make us feel, and how we're just begging them to love us and treat us like human beings, and let them know, hey, we don't want to hurt you. It's no reason for us to pose a threat to you. We just want to be, accepted wherever you all and y'all spend. Man, fuck that. I understand that this is satire. I don't have a problem with Caucasian people or anything like that. But what I'm not going to do is sit up here and act like I'm scared of y'all. I'm not going to do that. And the fact that this film really wants to push that, hey, we're fearful of you people, I'm here to tell you right now, we are not. Yes, we all want to be treated as humans and equal and things like that. We want to be afforded the same opportunities that you all are afforded. Like, yeah, all of that shit is true. We ain't scared of you MFs. And the only reason I'm not saying the full word is because I found out recently that YouTube doesn't like that. So I'm going to leave that alone. But we ain't scared of y'all. like at all. Fuck that. Nah, we good. But yeah, Aaron is just so docile in that way. And the only reason he really breaks out of it is not because he like, man, looking around and saying, look at this is some bullshit. No, it's because he wants to be with Lizzie. And again, Jason is a complete asshole. And I'll just get to the climax. There's this part where Jason is doing this presentation. Lizzie was more qualified for it, but because Jason has the look. By the way, this is something else that's funny. And I will give them credit for this because this is a reflection of some shit that would actually happen. The company that Jason is working for, they made a faux pas where their facial recognition technology doesn't recognize black people. So this has been a PR nightmare for the company. And instead of them saying, look, we apologize for this, even from a PR standpoint, it would make more sense to put someone of an ethnic background, namely a black person, at the forefront. But no, they want Jason in all of his mediocrity to be the face of this. So they're going to put a Caucasian face on an already Caucasian-based mistake and try and clear it up. So Jason gets the job or the presentation opportunity over Lizzie. Lizzie feels a way about it. Jason is basically like, if she was so much better, she would have had the opportunity. Aaron comes to Jason, basically saying maybe you should present with Lizzie, and Jason goes full on just corporate jackass, and makes it, about, hey, I earned this opportunity, pulled myself up by my bootstraps and all this kind of stuff, when really he was handing everything. But anyways, Jason is so big on how much he needs Aaron's help with this, and all Aaron is doing is just clicking, the slides or whatever. Aaron finally blows up, and I feel like now at this point, there are some things that people can relate to when it comes to this, especially being a black person in America. It always looks worse when we've taken on all that bullshit and then we finally blow up, and Aaron has a full-on meltdown where he just basically cusses all the Caucasian people around out, but namely Jason. But then it gets to this kind of bitch session, like he's whining about how endangered he feels around Caucasian people and all that kind of stuff. And it's, oh my God, it's so ham-fisted and so heavy-handed. And I'm like, there is a more creative way to do this. Matter of fact, there are two films that do this a lot better. One is a horror movie, and one is a comedy drama. The first one is Get Out. Get Out does Caucasian horror for black people very well. The other one is American Fiction, which is a film I will get around to reviewing. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, those two works do a much, much, much better job of covering what it is to deal with Caucasian fear on one hand, and satirically, in the case of American Fiction, how Caucasians look at what they think the black experience is, and them wanting to make money off of it, allowing a lot of absurd shit to go down just to get to a means to an end. But yeah, it's American Fiction really is the better version of this film without all the magical bullshit that's a complete waste. So yeah, Aaron is a pushover. Roger is also a pushover, and he actually tells a story where he fell in love with a black woman during his time as a magical Negro, and it didn't work out because, again, they were supposed to be subservient to Caucasian people, and he had to just get out of his feelings and let the assignment kind of go on as is, or as he wouldn't be a magical Negro anymore. And so after Aaron snaps out, he transports Lizzie to New York. Yeah, and this is based in California, by the way, so that's an issue. But he transports her to New York to try to profess his love to her. And then the magical Negroes effectively decide to strip him of his powers. There's a scene getting back to the nut grabbing scene, where another black man in a corporate setting, he big ups this Caucasian man and he reaches down and he grabs his nuts and the magical part doesn't work. And then he repeats it again. And I don't know what it is. Again, they made black people as a whole look kind of subservient in this film. But the way that they just made the black men look like bitches, it bothers me so much. And that nut grabbing thing, man, they really tried to sell that. And it's fucking stupid. I really don't like this movie. I don't. And the only thing I don't like more than this is that goddamn Good Times reboot, which that was fucking stupid. And this is disappointing because there's some potential there. You really see the messages that they were trying to convey. And if it was just smarter writing, then it would have worked out. I could see this working out. But you have to abandon the plot about black people being just these doormats for white people, Caucasian people, to make them feel better. That's fucking absurd to be looking at some shit like that in 2024. And this leads me to a film that's coming out next year, and I want to see how they handle it. But this kind of started with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where, you know, and that culminates with Falcon, and this is over at Marvel. You know, I know I'm switching gears, but it culminates with Falcon making this grand speech about why they shouldn't be afraid of him because he's a black Captain America. And he's like, look, I work for all people. But it has this subtext of like, I really want y'all Caucasian folks to not be scared of me. And this film kind of reminds me of that scene, and I want to see how Captain America 4 handles Sam Wilson as a character. But that's an aside. That's neither here nor there. Overall, I really think you all should avoid this movie because it's a colossal disappointment, and it more than likely will piss you off. The funniest part about all of this, though, is somewhere in here there lies a better movie with probably a pretty good message that wants to get out, but the writing and the direction is so pedestrian that it's crushed under its own weight, and it ends up not appealing to anybody. It's not going to appeal to black people who are just looking for a good satire or a good comedy to just have a good time and laugh at. It's not going to appeal to Caucasian people because they're getting roasted in here and made to look like fools and idiots and bitches too, and assholes. And they're made to look like jackasses or people that are incapable, so it's not going to appeal to them either. It's a film without anybody to appeal to, and that's why it bombed in the box office, and that's why it may get some increased viewership on Peacock, but nobody's gonna give a fuck about this movie. Just to be real with you, it was a waste of time. With that being said, I want to blame Kenya Barris for this. So yeah, the American Society of Magical Negroes, which is streaming on Peacock. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments. Continue to like, continue to share, continue to comment and engage. I know it's been a while, but I am back. Until next time, this is Jarius, the Unapologetic Geek, and I am out.